Hi everyone, welcome back to Keeping Up with the Chaldeans. I'm Anthony Toma, your host. Today we're here with the founders of Taylor and Soka?
Correct.
Yes.
The law firm of Taylor and Soka, right?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, cool. We're here with Rita and Alex, and they're going to tell you a little bit about what they do and how they got started. Who wants to take it away?
I can start first.
Yes.
So
All
my name is Rita Soka. I moved to the United States when I was about 18 years old. I started a family right away. I got married, started a family, had 3 kids, then started my career in healthcare. I worked in healthcare for about 10 years in transfusion medicine, then decided to change careers and went into law school in 2018. I went to Detroit Mercy School of Law, and after graduating, I had a job as at a law firm, reputable law firm in Troy, representing cities in Oakland County and townships like West Bloomfield, Bloomfield Hills, Bloomfield Township. And then in November of 2022, Alexandria, who was my former professor at Detroit Mercy School of Law,
Okay.
she asked to go out to dinner and just to meet up and catch up. And when we did meet, we started just talking about, she knew I wanted to always open up my own firm.
Okay.
And then she started talking about her campaign that she was going to launch in 2023 to run for the U.S. Senate seat. We don't know how this happened, but we always say it was the Lord's blessings that came upon us and joined forces. Mm-hmm. And that's when we talked about establishing Taylor Soka Law Firm.
Okay.
Alexandria will tell you that she had a firm. It's about 10 years old, Taylor Law Firm. So what we decided to do is dissolve that firm and then establish a new entity. Mm-hmm. And the new entity established in February of 2023. And we do criminal defense, family law, so divorce, custody, support. We also represent clients during the CPS investigations. And then because of my medical background, I also represent clients in the healthcare setting where when a healthcare professional is being investigated or a complaint has been filed. So during the investigation period or compliance meetings or even representing them in front of the board when they're facing license or certification, revocation, suspension, and all that.
Gotcha. And do you handle those cases currently?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
And then why don't you introduce yourself and
Yes.
tell us a little bit about your background and your aspirations to win the seat.
Absolutely. So my name's Alexandria Taylor. I graduated from Detroit Mercy School of Law in 2011. And from there, I went to work for a boutique firm actually out here, so nearby in Royal Oak. And I worked there for about almost 5 years. And then I branched out and opened up the firm downtown Detroit. And at the time, we were focused mainly on criminal because I loved how to get away with murder. And so I was like, I was a law school professor, I had all the interns, and so that was kind of the vision. And at a point in time, I was looking for an old house because I loved the idea of like the law firm in an older house that was remade to an office. And so I started teaching actually right when the pandemic happened. 2020 was my first semester teaching, and I happened to meet Rita, what was that, like a year later when I was teaching, and I always knew that Rita was super driven. Even in class, I knew she wanted to start her own firm, and she's right. I told her, and I told the whole entire class, I said, I don't recommend coming straight out starting your own firm. And it's just because I think it's such a steep learning curve. And but we kept in touch. And after she took the bar and she passed, so that was why we had went out to dinner. So we went to Caucus Club because I wanted to take her out and congratulate her. I never a thought. I knew she was going to pass the first time. And so she's right. I don't know how it happened, but it definitely was a blessing that we linked up and partnered up. And most people will look at this and be like, you're crazy. Like, you partnered with somebody, because we really didn't know each other on a personal level, you know, just as professor student, even though we're the same age and our stories are very similar. I mean, all this we found out after we partnered. And it really just was like a leap of faith. You know, it really was a huge leap of faith that, like I said, has just been such an immense blessing. You know, Rita and her family are just so amazing. And so we decided to dissolve Taylor Law Firm, you know, which was great just to have that fresh start. But it was, you know, I was nervous because Taylor Law Firm was kind of like my baby all those years, you know, that I had started, and my parents helped me. And then, you know, during the time of practice, like, my parents passed away. So it was hard, you know, but again, it was just taking that step of faith, trusting God in this new season, you know, being thankful for starting the firm and the fact that my family was able to see that happen and help with it and celebrate that accomplishment, but then realizing that this is a new chapter. And so it's definitely been really great since starting. But like Rita said, when we partnered up, it was with the understanding that I was going to be running, you know, for Senate. And so, as we know, Debbie Stabenow has announced that she's not running for re-election. So this is, yes. Okay. So this is an open seat. And so we partnered with that in mind. But I'm still practicing, you know, practicing every day. We're hoping to make it, you know, throughout the end of the year, beginning of next year, before things get crazy and I have to phase out.
Do we know why she's not running?
I mean, I think what she said is that she has done a lot in her career and it's time for someone new, which I kind of appreciate that perspective, because I feel like most politicians, I mean, they stay well past their prime. Yeah. And so, you know, even though our political views are different and I'm on the other side of the aisle, I can appreciate that sentiment of that, you know, I've done all I can do and now it's time for someone fresh and new to occupy the seat.
It's nice.
Yes.
So what's next for Taylor Soka, the firm?
You know, I see Taylor Soka going places that, quite honestly, I never imagined and never dreamed. I mean, Taylor Soka could be a Jones Day. It really can. In the vision and just the expertise and the unique knowledge set of Rita, and, you know, already the changes and the growth that we've seen in six months has just been exponential. And so I see, you know, expanding, you know, hiring other attorneys. Like, Rita and I will both be co-teaching at U of D Law in the fall. And I know we're both very passionate about training this next generation of lawyers. Right. And particularly with Detroit Mercy Law School being in the heart of Detroit, we feel like UDM Law should produce the best lawyers in the country. You know, you're in Detroit. Yeah. And so I see growth, you know, with the firm and hiring more attorneys and expanding, and who knows? I mean, Rita's daughter's in law school. My teenage daughter wants to go to law school, but I see it as just growing beyond this boutique law firm. I see it growing on a national level.
My nephew is at U of D Law currently.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay.
Matthew Toma.
Okay.
Stay in school. No.
Yes, I've mentored Matthew, and he knows my daughters, so I know Matthew.
I love it.
He's a fellow as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you call Taylor Soka a boutique firm. Where's it located? How can people reach you?
So we're in downtown Detroit, on Woodward and Clifford Street. People can reach us by visiting our website, first thing, taylorsoka.com. They can call our office at 313-960-4339. We work mostly remote because we're in court a lot. So our assistants are there, they can answer phone calls. And we're also looking, back to your question as far as where it's going, we're looking for a second office in Oakland County. And that will provide us an opportunity and space to bring on more attorneys to help in different areas of law. Like I stated earlier, we're specialized in criminal defense, family, and healthcare law, but we're looking into bringing in malpractice and personal injury. Given my background in healthcare, I mean, I can zoom through medical records and identify issues like within minutes. It's really a strength of mine. And then we're very passionate about bringing up the new lawyers. We currently have 2 interns. They're pre-law students. We teach them everything from A to Z. We allow them to shadow us in court, on Zoom, client meetings, mediations, depositions, everything.
Yeah.
And we explain things to them as if they were in law school, because my experience going into law school, I didn't know what plaintiffs and defendants, who they were and which side of the aisle they were sitting. I mean, I had no clue. I came from medical all the way to legal without any preparations, just decided overnight. So I want them to have a better experience. So we teach these turns. So we take 2 interns every semester. And we provide them these, opportunities to learn and have a better understanding of what to expect as a lawyer and in law school. I'm on the alumni board at the UDM, and like she stated, I'm going to start teaching this coming semester. Dean Exum at the law school had asked me and offered me this opportunity, and I'm very, very excited to teach.
Does that make you a professor?
Yes.
Yes.
You do? Oh, cool. So what better way for an intern to come in and learn from 2 professors from the University of Detroit?
Absolutely.
That's an
Yes.
amazing opportunity. How do you decide which interns you're going to go with?
They have to show me that they're hungry. Hunger is the best thing that they can
Yes.
offer. I don't want them to have any experience. My interns, one of them had no clue, had never worked in a firm, had no experience, no prior knowledge. She's only 20. And I just told her, I need you to be hungry and ask questions. Asking questions is never wrong. There is no dumb question.
Is this person going into law, or is...
She's pre-law, so she's going to
Okay.
start law school in 2025.
That's amazing. What about you? What do you look for in an intern?
Same thing, that hunger, that's something that can't be taught, you know? So that's what I saw in Rita as a professor. Like I knew even though I was telling her, don't go into solo,
Yeah.
like I knew in her
She's
mind,
gonna do it.
she's gonna do it because
Yeah.
she's so driven. And so you can't teach that. Like as a professor, there's no curriculum to teach.
Right.
Like that has to be something within yourself.
Yeah.
And so I don't know in all these years, even before we established Taylor Soka, if I've ever really even looked at someone's resume. So I like to talk to them, learn about their background, what drives them, why you want to go to law school, what you want to do. And so it's those things versus what's on paper, which I know is probably unconventional, because most jobs is like, what is your strength? What is the most silly questions. And I just don't really feel that you get to know someone and what drives them and, really what's in them, what really they want to do by looking at a piece of paper. Like it takes more than that, at least for me it does.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess you could say good professors will pull
that out.
the hustle out of
Yes.
you, or the drive out of you.
Yes.
So you can go into the school or in your class and
Yes.
not have it, and then by the end of it you could have the drive and the
Exactly. Like as long
commitment.
as you have something, that motivates you intrinsically, like I and Rita is the same way. We can discern your strengths, and then we're gonna speak to that and, like you say, pull that stuff out to really mold them and get them where they need to be.
Right.
This past spring, we participated at a high school program, minority program clubs. So the CASA club, the Chaldean American, and what was it called? The Alliance Club at Walled Lake Central. So
Right.
it was the Chaldeans high school club and the African American high school club, with the help of, shout out to Nancy Katula. With her help, we combined those 2 clubs, and we went into school and offered them mentorship opportunities. So I have sophomores in high school contacting me, literally last night, contacting me every week, asking to come to court with us. And they've
Yes.
come to court, they've watched us,
That's so cool.
in action, and we would introduce them to the judge. I've had one, the judge was kind enough to show her around in the chambers and the back room and the holding cells. I mean, she was so excited. I think those opportunities are
Yes.
just priceless. And
Yeah, for sure.
and like I said, I didn't have that. I did have a lot of support though, but I didn't have those experiences before going into law school. So I want to bring it and give it back to them. So in the fall, we're planning on going to Marion, St. Catherine, and speak to those students, but not just speak about how, lawyers operate and what we do and all that. I want to come down to their level and show them that lawyers are not those people who are hard to reach. You can text me and come talk to me about anything. I had one student, as a sophomore at Walled Lake Central, texted me and said, Miss Soka, I have, juvenile court that I have to go attend, which is like a program that they participate through high school, and they would litigate real cases, juvenile cases. So he asked me, he's like, I'm playing the prosecutor. What do I do? So I advised him. The next day he called me and said, they changed my role. Now I'm the criminal defense attorney. What do I do? So I sent him the jury, instructions. I said, no, this is great, because now he sees both sides of the argument. And I said, listen, Caden, this is great for you. You're going to go in and you're going to win this case. And he did. He did win it. So he was so happy. And he might be my intern next year. Even though he's in high school, we don't take high school interns, but he's so driven.
So I wonder if he'd have stayed on the prosecuting side, would he have won?
I don't know. You know what? There's an argument on each side. There's always an argument. And a good attorney can see those two arguments,
you can
find them, and then poke holes.
Gotcha. Do you have, each of you have a message to the youth of America on being driven and finding success as you two ladies have?
I would say be assertive. Don't be afraid of asking questions. Don't be afraid of reaching out, because you never know who's going to be out there lending hand. Like, if I didn't accept her, dinner invite and I would have been shy, well, I don't want to go out to dinner with my professor. Maybe a 24-year-old would be shy.
Right.
But
they shouldn't.
They shouldn't.
Right.
They should not. They should reach out. And those are the people that I'm in contact with, those students, pre-law students and high school students. Those are the people that I want everyone to be like. Be assertive. Reach out. Don't be shy. Bother us. Bother your mentors, no matter in what profession you're going into. Try to ask questions and be assertive. Just have a goal and work on it. No one is going to hand you anything.
Right. But so I don't think you look at it as being bothered when they reach out. So
no, I don't.
I think they should be in the mindset that it's not actually bothering, but reaching out and just opening a door for themselves.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I'm all about communications. I cannot have any emails unanswered or text messages unanswered.
I'm like, the same.
I'm just on top of all that. So, but I understand professionals are very busy. So if you reach out and they don't answer you within a day or 2 or 3, it doesn't mean they ignored you.
Right.
Reach out again. Remind them. Check on the status of your question, whatever it is. It's not a bother.
Yeah.
And we're just busy. If we don't reply right the way or respond to you right the way, it's not because we want to ignore you.
And no, not everyone is as organized as the two of you, right?
Right.
What is your message to the youth and people coming up these days?
My message is believing in yourself. And so the other day I had somebody ask me in reference to my campaign, about running for Senate. And I talked about just growing up, my mother always made me believe I could do anything I wanted, And so when we mentor young students, and that's why we're both so passionate about mentorship, but that's something like that legacy that I pass on, because believing in yourself is half the battle. However, I realized that not everyone grew up with a parent or parents who constantly said, you can do it, who always just like reaffirm, like, of course you could do it. I never grew up with my mother doubting or my dad doubting me. It was like, whatever you put your mind to, you can do it.
Right.
And so what I like to pass on is believing in yourself. However, I do believe everyone needs mentors. Like, I have a mentor, and that is one thing that I'm so dedicated to, is because sometimes I do see students who have all the tools and they are intrinsically motivated and they're driven, but they don't really believe in themselves. They don't see it. And so believing in yourself really is half the battle. However, no matter what role I'm in, whether it's attorney, senator, president of the United States, that's one thing I'm always going to do, is to pour into young people to believe in themselves.
That's beautiful. And I hope everyone's listening out there.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you mentioned the campaign, and I do want to get to that. I want to kind of see where you're going, what your thoughts are,
Yes.
where you stand, your principles, what you're going to be running on. But before we do that, I want to kind of have you talk a little bit about your trilingual, quadlingual. What are you? So just so you know, you speak many languages.
Oh.
You speak Surat, Arabic, and English, and I want the people out there that are looking for a law firm to help them in their defense or in their family situation to understand that you speak multiple languages.
I do. I speak Arabic. I read and write Arabic, so I have a lot of Arabic Muslim clients who have their, their divorce documents are in Arabic or things
Yeah.
like that. So I'm able to identify issues reading those documents. And I speak Surat,
Yeah.
not Chaldean, Surat.
Yeah, there you go.
And fluently, all languages fluently. And I also, so I do family, and I do take a lot of divorce cases. But one thing about me is I refuse to take family law classes in law school because I am so against divorce. I said I'm not going to practice that type of law. But Alexandria said you need to try it because I can see you being good at it with the type of person you are.
Yeah.
And when she said that, it was about my creativity, it was about my morals and ethics.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I'm against divorce, but when I get clients that I feel like their story it does not rise to the level of needing a divorce, I've sent clients to priests. I've sent clients to therapists. I said, if you are not able to solve your problems using those tools, then come back to me. I'm always here.
Yeah.
I've had clients text me, or potential clients, they never became clients, which is great.
Good, thank God.
They text me and said, thank you so much for saving my marriage, which was really good. So I really am proud to say that I am a dedicated Chaldean with morals and ethics, and I'm driven by God
It's very, very
and the
important.
Holy Spirit.
That's awesome. So you send them back, and it's total joke. You send them back, the husband murders the wife, and then you take the case.
Oh,
No, I'm
Lord.
joking.
Well, no, because if the wife contacted us and then the husband kills her, it'll be a conflict.
Oh, gotcha.
You can't do that.
That's funny. Having a sense of humor is everything in this world, in the world today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's get serious again and talk about the campaign.
Yes.
What are we doing?
So this decision was really one, and I always say this, and Rita knows because she was at my announcement, that I came to in my prayer closet, because anyone who knows me knows that my dream was always to run for judge, which I did run in 2020 for district court and made it past the primary and lost in the general.
What district?
34th in Romulus.
Okay.
And so when it came to Senate, it was just something that never crossed my mind. And so in prayer and reflection, once I realized, that this was a path for me, first I ran it by wise counsel, because like I said, we should all have mentors, spiritual mentors. And once I decided to enter the race, really the biggest reason and driving force is the family unit. So family is very important. Like Rita, we have that much in common, but it seems like a lot of these liberal policies that are coming out are designed to destroy the family. And when you think about things like with the gender reassignment with children, I mean, these are basic things, like girls are in girls sports.
Common sense
Right.
things.
Boys should be in boys sports. Like when we were kids, it's like the things that we're talking about, I can't believe it's an issue. Why are we discussing this? But this is where we're at. And so we need a leader, we need leadership, and every principle, every policy that I support will be designed to embrace and uplift the family, but also giving families that control. So, you shouldn't have drag queens in schools and libraries, but if somebody wants to have that in their own house at their kitchen table, go ahead.
Yeah.
But so these things, we really have gotten so far away from just the core principles and fundamentals that this country was built upon, and the direction that we're going in, quite honestly, it scares me. And even with foreign policy, this one world government, I mean, we are going in a very dark direction. And I think that the world is crying out, not just the state of Michigan, but the world for real, true, genuine leadership. I don't have an agenda. I have the Holy Spirit. In whatever direction that the Lord leads me in, that's the direction that I go. And even with just running, up under a Republican platform, I make it clear that I serve God, not a party. Because to me, parties and people can go left and right. And so the principles and policies that I support and I will put forth ultimately have to benefit the family, because you will never have a strong community without a strong family.
Yeah. So you do see this stuff happening also, so it's not my imagination.
Yes. Yeah.
So all the people that follow me on social media,
Yeah.
I told you so. This is not, I wasn't crazy. I wasn't the
No.
conspiracy theorist
Not at all.
that you thought I was.
No.
No, but I think that's amazing. How can people help get you into the Senate?
So people can help get me into the Senate by volunteering on the campaign. So the website is alexandriaforsenate.com, and it's the word for, F-O-R. By donating, because let's be honest, we know that Michigan is a battleground state, and not just for the Senate, but for the presidential.
Sure.
And I would contend that next year is probably going to be one of the most important elections of our lifetime. And so it takes funds. And so, by donating, which can be done through the website, and again, volunteering, making calls, door knocking. I mean, this is a monumental movement that we're embarking upon. And we know there is division, but again, we're not running on that. We need to come together as a party. The party has to come together. Like, the foolishness that's going on is only meant to divide us even further. And so having an open Senate seat, as you know, is very rare. So the last time the seat was open, this particular one, Debbie Stabenow, she unseated a Republican after one term, and that was, roughly 23 years ago. Oh. So it is extremely rare to have an open Senate seat, and so we really have to come together to make sure that we have real, true leadership in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have any Chaldeans helping you out with your campaign?
Oh yeah, one very important one. Yes.
Who's that?
So it's Rita.
All right.
Yes.
So they go to alexandriaforsenate.com.
That's correct.
Okay. And we can donate there.
Yes.
And it sounds like you align with a lot of our Chaldean principles and morals and everything that we want in our family values in our community. So everyone out there,
yes,
go to the site,
yes,
donate. Let's make a difference, make a change, and make sure that we get the right people in the seats.
Absolutely.
That will protect our children.
Absolutely.
And go out and vote.
And go out and vote,
Go out
of
and
course.
vote, yes.
Who are some of your, since you did mention the presidential campaign, who are some of your sleeper candidates running for president on both sides?
Like sleeper as far as they have potential?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That aren't front and center, or could be front and center, but
Yes.
aren't like the Bidens or the Trumps.
Yes.
Just people that.
So I like the message of Tim Scott because it's a message that I can resonate with. I grew up Democrat like a lot of Black people. However,
And Chaldeans.
yes, my parents, I mean, like I said, they're deceased now, but they weren't liberal. Like, my stepdad was a pastor. My mother was a first lady. My mother very much operated in gender roles, which now that's like a curse word to say gender roles.
Right.
Like, she cooked the dinner, she did laundry, so that's how I was raised. Like, she was very traditional. Like, she fixed my dad's plate, served him. And so I don't think they were liberal. I just think like a lot of communities of color, it's just like you're almost indoctrinated to be Democrat. And so I like him because his story is very similar, because let's be honest, in this 24 election, we have to open the eyes of some Democrats. We have to get some Democrats to believe and to see that, the Democratic Party has been race baiting. And that's what it took for me to see. It's like, you've been using race, but then also accepting that responsibility, realizing even myself that I was putting race above righteousness, which we can't do. And a lot do it, because you hear the word racism and it evokes so much emotion, and then it's like you don't listen to anything else. And so his story I like, because again, that resonates, and I believe that, especially on the Republican side, whatever person makes it past a primary, you're going to have to appeal to these communities. And it's not even just Black people. Like the lady who does my eyebrows, who threads them, is from Pakistan. And when I told her about my campaign and I asked her, I said, well, are you Republican or Democrat? And she was like, well, I'm Democrat. And then I kid you not, she whispered in my ear that she voted for Trump. And so, because she didn't want her colleagues to hear in there. And so that's what I'm saying. But so it's like you have communities like that who, again, indoctrinated, brainwashed to believe that Democrats are for people of color, but really don't believe in it. And so we have to, when it comes from whoever's running for president, you have to be able to appeal to those communities. So I think Tim Scott, like, he's a sleeper because he does, and I identify with his story because, I get it. And when we talk to other Democrats, like when I've talked to Democrats and I've shared my story, like why I left the party, it's like it makes sense because a lot of them don't believe, with boys and girls sports and all of this, but it's like they're told that the Republican Party is racist. So they're like, well, I don't,
Right.
And so I think has that story that like gives you hope, and it's like, okay, a breath of fresh air, and and maybe you'll have these communities realize like, okay, we're really not Democrat,
Yeah. He's a no-nonsense guy,
Yes,
for sure.
yeah,
He
yeah.
says it like it is, for sure.
Yeah.
What about the other side?
I think Kennedy, I heard him on Fox News the other day. I mean, so Kennedy represents what the Democratic Party used to be,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
And so, but the thing is that he's not going to make it past the primary, you know? But I mean, he represents what it used to be. And so I think that those older Democrats, would identify with him because that is a party that they grew up with, and that's how it used to be, like moderate. But again, I mean, even though that sounds well, I just don't believe he has the strength to make it, make it past the primary. Yeah.
Okay. So when things start to heat up, can we have you back on the show?
Absolutely.
To kind of just focus solely on the campaign?
Yes, I'd love to.
And raise some funds?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Who wants to close out and give a message and talk about...
Rita, you can take it. Yeah.
I can close out.
Let's do it. Your closing
we
arguments.
we appreciate you taking the time
Thank
to get to know Taylor Soka Law Firm and then get to know Alexandria Taylor as a candidate. We would like to send a message out to, like we said, to the young people to reach out if you have any questions, if you need a mentor, if you have any questions about life or even healthcare, because I have that background. But also I would like to send a message to our community members. If you ever need, God forbid, I say it in Chaldean, but if you do need me, I'm here.
Yeah.
For criminal defense, DUIs, domestic violence, felonies, all that, and then family law when it comes to divorce, custody, support, post-judgment issues. I am well versed, and then a lot of times we have those two areas of law, overlap, and then you get CPS investigations. So reach out, and we do offer free consultation, and we can discuss your case and decide on what to do with it. Other than that, please visit our website, taylorsoka.com.
Cool. So we do actually close out with a single question to the guests.
Yeah.
And it is, what does it mean to you to be Chaldean?
It means that, Chaldean to me is just it means to be a Catholic Christian, because as a community, we wouldn't be anywhere without our faith. And so being Chaldean, I'm very proud to be able to say that I am Catholic. When I go, we were just in Arizona, and Uber drivers would ask us, where are you from? And we would tell them. But then we would say, we're Chaldeans. Oh, who are these Chaldeans?
Yeah.
And I would say, we are the Catholics of Iraq. And that, to me, I'm very proud to say it.
Yeah.
And my children love saying that they're Chaldeans and that they are the Catholics of Iraq, and they have and carry on the same moral values as I do and my husband does. And so to me, being Chaldean is the Catholic of Iraq.
Beautiful. So I'm going to ask you a little different question.
Yes.
What does it mean? What will it mean to you to be the senator?
It will mean the fulfillment of God's plan, and not even just for my life, but for this state and ultimately this country, in moving us in a better direction.
Well, God is great.
Amen.
as we found out today.
Yes.
These two lovely ladies. And we're going to sign off and